are you going up to site after we finish here?
I am indeed, yes.
Just in case I get a phone call, like I say, he will be there at whatever time.
Indeed,
That's
yes.
fine.
So, I mean, yesterday it was great to see, lying out the marquees and getting it all ready. So, yeah, it's going well, I think.
So, Tim,
a lot to do.
You were just saying that there was an incredible success story last year with the funds that were raised.
Indeed.
And the follow-up with sending murals to Fiji and so on. Why don't you tell us a bit about that?
Well, that was incredible. I mean, for those that didn't see or attend the fair last year, our theme was safeguarding ocean species, which of course is a critical theme because seabirds are suffering enormously by being caught on these horrendous hooks. Some of the lines that go out the back of the boat are over 100 kilometres long, which is crazy. So we've funded a project there, but starting this particular one in the South Pacific with, and we flew out luckily to Fiji, and we took the $140,000 that we raised last year. And I say we raised, our visitors helped raise, our sponsors helped raise, and it's making a massive difference, and we're so excited about it. And we did sneak in a couple of little extra trips up to Papua New Guinea. And the good news is now the Papua New Guinea Tourism Board have just booked, so they're coming this year.
This year, where will the funds raised go this time?
Well, they're going. Penny has, I think, the details
somewhere
here.
Somewhere along here. The programme has gone to print. However, Preventing Island Extinctions, which is the project for this year, based in Sao Tome and Principe, and we sent a list. In fact, here is the list. Here's one we prepared earlier of projects to choose from. And it's very difficult to choose a set project whereby we know that the funds we can raise can actually make a real difference. And that's why I was so excited with what the news we had yesterday. This is partly to do with it, which is that the mural, which is such a creative and inspirational piece of work by so many people, will have a home in Sao Tome, in a public area where people can go, locals can go, visitors can go, in a local arts centre with a museum. And that for us is that's part of the job. It's an extra that people probably don't realise happens, but the negotiations for that sort of thing can be quite lengthy, but between us we normally manage to get most things done. And I think that's the Sao Tome project is a really big one, and we're really excited to have representatives from BirdLife in Sao Tome coming along this year, and they'll be on the stage talking about it.
Tell us a bit about the species.
Well, this is the actual bird itself. It's the dwarf ibis, but it's actually one of many endemic birds that are found on this island. And the islands, it's the first time we've really ever done anything within islands as such. And of course, Sao Tome and Principe, the two islands, are so special, with up to 20 endemic birds on them, which makes them very important for the local people, because the local people, we hope, will benefit from the tourism that we will develop and help the ecotourism. One of the problems at the moment is the lack of food for the local people, so they are hunted along with other species. So we hope to change the attitude of people by showing them that tourism is more important, and it will generate a really good income for the local people, which has been one of our crucial areas that we've always worked in. So it's a really exciting project, and we're delighted to be working just off the African coast.
And a very exciting bit of news is delightful exhibitors who have come along for many years, great supporters, Rachel and Dan Brown, have put together a tour to Sao Tome and Principe, and they actually want to now run on with a project trip every year. And so in fact that is open to people who wish to book it later on in this year.
And what have we done?
Booked it.
We've booked it.
So for any unsuspecting, we don't want to surprise anybody by us turning up at the airport. That would be very embarrassing for people who think, oh my goodness me, we haven't got to go with them for 9 days, I'm sorry. But it should be really good fun.
It's also important to say that we are paying for it.
This is a personal trip for us, it's not a work trip. We probably will end up, it'll be a bit of a work trip, we'll probably be taking the mural down to present that and see its new home. But obviously that's the sort of thing that one includes, because it's always a very whole experience. And in fact the postcards, which these will be on sale at Global BirdFair this year, drawn by one of the artists, Rob Banbury, who contributed to the mural. He actually drew this on a really special day and it's the reason Saltame originally contacted us when we'd just been sent this list from BirdLife. It was pure coincidence, there was no attachment. Wanting to know more about bird watching, how they could promote bird watching, and so we got back to them and said, here's some other people who might be able to help you as well, we'd gladly help. This was then done on Global Big Day, and I think in the film last year we got the results in while you were here, and there was me having a bit of a moment. I was so excited, and equally exciting this year because on the 9th of May for Global Big Day, over 8,000 bird species were recorded in one day. Rob Banbury actually drew that this day not knowing what the results were going to be. So again, the whole thing, as usual, you speak to enough people, you pass this amazing network around, wonderful things happen, you make the connections, and to be honest, that really is what Global BirdFair is all about, but on a really global scale. It's, I think this year particularly, hasn't it? There is a huge amount of excitement about the event, and B, people are now really getting it. They're getting what it does, not just in that field, way beyond that field, which we will never know. Most of the things, something will crop up and we'll think, oh yes, well that was then, and people are now really understanding it as a networking event more than anything else, as much as anything else, more than anything else as a fundraising event. It's a very strong message.
Yes, and I think it's the sort of networking, as Penny is sort of hinting there, not just the exhibitors, it's people, individuals will literally travel across the world to meet other conservationists who are like-minded, who have ideas, who have potentially support. And I think that's something, as Penny rightly says, we can never put a figure on. And we know what we've raised over the years, which is in working with BirdLife International, is in excess of over £40 million for conservation. So it's had a massive difference. And on the subject of pounds and coins, one of the things we're going to do this year is have a very large suitcase where you can bring and stuff in all of your old currency that's been sitting in the cupboard under shelves that you've used on different trips around the world. So we'd love you to bring that. It'd be a fun thing to do. You'll be able to see the money pouring in through the glass case and everything. So it's going to be really fun. And
out-of-date currency as well. So
yes, oh absolutely.
If you still have francs in your drawers, excuse the expression, you are very welcome to bring your francs. Obviously save some for families for future museum pieces, but we are also able to take out-of-date currency. So we're really hoping, and we'll have a fun side of the suitcase which will be under perspex, and then a side where you put your money. And there'll be some girls, local girls, who have offered to come up, and they're going to dress up. I'm not quite sure what as, but they're going to come and do some fundraising. So they'll be promoting it around the site as well, to go and drop your coins in the case.
Let's turn to the 2026 programme. What highlights have you got lined up for visitors this time?
Too many. Too many. We have the one thing, and we really need to say this now as well, is to thank everybody who's a guest speaker, all the people on Osprey main events. They come and give their time. Nobody gets paid for this event. They come, give their time, and they give so much, because 3 days for somebody who is normally self-employed, that's a lot of time out. So we really appreciate their attendance, and B, they pull in the crowd. So for example, on the Friday for the evening we have Robert Fuller, who now has over 1 million YouTube subscribers, which is, he's been on the One Show, he's done a lot of filming on the One Show, and obviously he was on the news and things. It's fantastic, and Robert's a lovely guy. So he starts off, but on the Friday in the daytime we've got Birdwatching Magazine, which Tim has a copy of there, who've done a fantastic feature on us this month. They're celebrating their 40th year this year, so they're going to kick off proceedings on Friday at 10 o'clock. And then we have, obviously, people lovely, Simon King, Nick Baker, Mike Dilger, I've probably forgotten somebody, Nigel Marvin. And then also we've got this other selection of people who are coming in. Obviously Dominic Dyer will be there with his slightly more serious look on panels and debates. There's going to be a debate about bird feeding on the Saturday. And then on Saturday evening we have the, as you mentioned, Merlin earlier, which is obviously growing in popularity. There's the Merlin versus Human Challenge, which Ali Smith runs very successfully with plenty of audience participation. And then also we have Ken Kaufman, who's coming over from the States. He will be giving a talk in Turnstone about his books, and also he will be the Desert Islander. Stephen Moss will be interviewing him for Desert Island Birds. Saturday night also we have Bonna Black, who is a country artist from the States coming across. She's actually a Zeiss ambassador. She's going to be coming across. She'll do a little 15-minute set before our infamous quiz night, which is hilarious. The questions set are questionable. I don't know how people know the answers to them, but they obviously do. But that's a fun night on Saturday. It's very much, we've realised we try to move with the times. We listen to people and we try to adapt to what people want. It's not what we want. We know a framework which can exist in which people can fill it. And I still regard that as the reason for the success for the event and the enjoyment for everybody, because basically we're giving them this, which is pretty much a blank canvas. They are the ones who fill it. We are only giving a framework, and we always listen to people. Sometimes we can't always provide what they would like. We will try and compromise somehow, but we always try. And then on Sunday afternoon, our kind of grand finale in the Osprey events is we have Wildlife TV behind the scenes. So obviously very popular programmes this year, Wild London, in which Robert Fuller was involved, Sean McCormack was very highly involved, Spring Watch, so Megan will be there, Lucy Lapwin will be there, and you know, I think that'll be a lovely, we're hoping that someone else will be there, I don't want to say yet, but there's been something to do with tigers. There's been great excitement recently about a lot of really solid TV documentaries. So again, it's a lovely way to end Sunday, and it's a family Sunday, so people can come in and just really enjoy the day.
What about the podcast? You've put an amazing programme together.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's quite extraordinary how this has grown and grown. We started it 2 or 3 years ago and sponsored by Swarovski, which is brilliant. And basically we have probably about every half hour, from the moment that we open almost through to the end of each day. And tell me, who we got coming this year?
What we have got is we've got a lot of BirdLife partners as well, and Markina from Sao Tome, she'll be on the podcast. But we've got the podcasters who come. They're obviously independent podcasters, and it's their chance to actually chat to people they wouldn't normally get a chance to chat to. So again, on Friday we have Nick Aitchison coming, and I forgot to mention the Your Flies Are Undone. Friday evening entertainment is going to be hilarious. But it's a mixture, as usual, of more serious aspects. So Martin Harper will be interviewed by somebody on the podcasting stage on Friday. It's mixed with light-heartedness, and so people can just sit down, listen in, and then of course all the podcasts we then put out onto where they can listen to them later on. So again, that's a long-term thing that can be used over the year for people. And
you two are famous for roaming around very hands-on during the event. I mean, Tim, you're still staggering around and looking fitter than ever.
I think it brings a new energy to me every year of the fair, and it really keeps me going. I'm just so happy to help and inspire people, meet people I haven't met before, but meet old friends, suddenly you think, oh gosh, I haven't seen him for donkey's years, thanks for supporting us, and I just absolutely love it, and hopefully will continue for a few more years to come. But I think it's so exciting because it's not just Penny and I by any means on site, it's our fantastic volunteers. There's probably 150 volunteers led by Pete and Jackie Murray, who do an incredible job sort of organising all the different lecture theatres, everything that goes on. And I think it's another thing we haven't mentioned, there's 3 huge lecture theatres, 150 lectures, something like that, will take part over the 3 days. And a massive effort by so many people. So we are the, if you like, almost, dare I say, the figureheads. But
basically, site team turn up on Monday morning, and at that stage of the game, if site preparation, and there's another big file inside which is being printed out, which is the Bible. Site prep is key, because the site team need to come on. At the end of the day, I need to have all of this ready, and then if something happens to me this afternoon, please God it doesn't, there is no excuse for it not happening. Absolutely no excuse, because everything's done. My job is basically done. All I do during the event is oversee what's happening. but it's not overseeing, because there's, from the minute the minute the office hits the ground on Monday morning at 8 o'clock, that's when you're in the office, you start your work again, because this has all been done, now you're on the ground and you've got to make it happen. And there is, dare I say it, quite a lot of responsibility in actually making it happen, because if that marquee, a guy rang me earlier saying, can you just confirm this, yes we need to switch the plates, yes we need to do that, you've just got to know every single detail of absolutely everything that's happening, and most of it is documented either here or in the big info folder.
Penny, you don't seem remotely frightened by any of this.
Seriously, we have, if you've done your preparation for anything, then you should be confident in your preparation. We have the utmost confidence in all the contractors. That is the key to the whole thing. They're a fantastic bunch of people. They all work really well together. They understand that I have last minute requests put into me, and therefore I have to pass them on to them, such as electrical supply. People don't get a grip for our electrical supply, which is all generator run. It's run by biofuel. We are at the limits of what we can do. And so people think, oh, I can just put an extension cable on here. Well, I'm sorry, no, you can't, because that could blow everybody's, which we did have 2 years ago. Somebody decided they were going to switch something on which they shouldn't have switched on. So things like that we have to be very mindful of for everybody's sakes.
Another reason why it works so well is the loyalty we show to our contractors. And I mean, virtually all of the major contractors have been with us almost since the beginning of the fair, all those years ago. So I think that makes a huge difference. We can almost sort of, the fact we're here now while they're actually doing this, they phone Penny up and say, can we do this, can we do that? Yes, oh yeah, that's fine, just follow the rules, blah, blah, blah. And, we needn't actually go up again today. We will, of course, just to say hello, shake their hand and say, thanks a lot, see you tomorrow. Yeah.
People do speak of the event as being a massive nature extravaganza with travel, authors, books, activities,
activities
yourself.
Yeah. Activities this year have gone mad.
Yes.
There's everything, isn't there? Batwalks.
Batwalks. 2 Biblitzes a day, batwalks. A lot of the optics companies are doing their special walks again, which is great. But now this year we have a new thing. We always like to do a new thing every year. 2 new things. One new thing is in Puffin, we have a new baby, which is the Puffling, obviously. So the Puffling is a creation which is a mini workshop area for art related. All the walks are completely free, and obviously the discovery zone for the kids, they're running more activities there again. And I mean, just after you arrived, Tim had just finished doing the moth trap for the morning. The moth trapping is a very popular activity, and we have owl pellet dissection back. Everyone needs to know about the owl pellet dissection back in our workshop.
At the time we're recording this, there's 2 weeks to go.
Indeed.
Yeah.
The clock is ticking.
The clock is ticking.
2 weeks tomorrow, they'll be pouring through the gates.
Well,
it's really exciting, isn't it?
It is exciting. I know actually one other person you spoke to, Steve, was Simon McCabe.
Indeed.
And you will have come across Simon quite a lot. He's a fantastic supporter of the event, and he goes around and creates a fantastic film afterwards. So we were chatting earlier this year, and as usual come up with a plan. And Simon's great because he doesn't work to plans. However, we were trying to figure out how he could be more of he's a very natural presence around the event and a very casual presence around the event. And it's great to have the mixture of you coming in and doing your side and him doing his side. I think that's the lovely different aspects. So in fact, what we have this year is the pop-up studio. Now, it sounds very grand, but I had this idea of not that I watch football, but maybe I do watch football, for anyone who's offended by that comment. So out at the back afterwards, they've had the match, they have that little dug-up studio thing. Oh, we have a pop-up studio. So what I've created is, and Simon very kindly made it look a little nicer, is a backdrop. So we have a backdrop which actually rolled up by beside you now. We've yet to put it together. And so Simon will be probably outside Osprey events. And it's just for people to catch them as they go by. How are you getting on? What are you doing? He might choose to take certain people there to have a little chat with them. But it's very much a pop-up studio of how's your day going? And that's a lovely thing, just to get general input from people who are visiting or exhibitors. And that's very much Simon's style. And I know you mentioned his video, the Botswana video, where the Lataka brothers, who are in Robin again this year, quick plug for Lataka, who are fantastic. So he did a video for them this year, and it's been a real success. And he obviously has, he's really enjoyed doing those. And we've put him in touch with someone for this year. And so I'm hoping that people might see something quite exciting from Simon later on this year on their screens.
I think, what's nice about, you mentioned Mitaka, they've been incredibly generous. We have an auction every year, and they donated a safari, which raised an awful lot of money. And of course, the auction over the years has raised probably at least £250,000. So, please go to the website and have a look and see what you could bid for. I mean, it's an incredible moment to get something really nice and very super and very different. And one of the things that you mentioned earlier on, of course, the card
yes.
will be
the original of this will be at the auction. And also Rob Banbury, who was the artist, he's also signed the back.
And that's really unique. And again, going back to it's so different, the fact that it was drawn on that very special day when a world record was set of over 8,000 species of birds seen in a single day. That was unbelievable. There's only 10,500. How are we going to get the rest of those? It's a bit of a job, but we're working on it. We're working on it.
Last year, Swarovski Optic, who we have a close relationship with, asked, would I start a women's team? And do you know a few women around the world who might be interested in joining you? And okay, fine. I mean, bear in mind these are people I haven't particularly met, but they're delightful. One of them was Michelle Reese, who's the lady I mentioned earlier about the Albatross Day. She's currently on Marion Island again. And so there was a group of people, and there's a very funny link with these, which is St Kilda, a very odd link. The guy, Craig, on St Kilda, who's a warden there, had worked out in the Seychelles and knew this lady Nazarene, who'd randomly asked if she could be, how could she be involved. So I put together a group of 6 of us, obviously very specific people. Some of them might have a link already to Swarovski. There's a very bizarre link with one of them, but it was a lovely group of ladies. Anyway, so we contributed, and the first year when it was just the 6 of us, we actually topped the leaderboard for teams, which was obviously going to happen. This year, we reached out to more people. Well, I say we, I did.
She stalked.
And so we had the most amazing result, over 2,000 species, and that's just for about 120 women across the world getting over 2,000 species. When you compare it to the total of just over 8,000, but that's a lot more people taking part. And that's the key, and I think that's the key to the event as much as anything. It's not necessarily these huge numbers of people, but it's the people who are absolutely driven and passionate and wanting to give. They then see the benefits afterwards.
I mean, you don't give enough credit, Penny, really, because that 2,000 birds was actually 1,000 more birds than any other team saw during that single day. So I think the nearest one was about just over 1,000, and you saw 2,100 or something like that. So I mean, what Penny's done and doing for nature conservation, not just through the fair, but beyond that, is remarkable. And she's an incredible woman, I have to say that, and she does an amazing job, and I'm so proud to be her partner.
Very quickly, going back again, an active participation. This is what it's all about. People going out there and encouraging other people to do the same, and that's what the fair's about as well. When we delivered we're very lucky, obviously, to deliver the mural down to Fiji and meet Steph Burrell, who people will have met last year. Then we made a trip down to Vanuatu, which is one of the other ports where the project from last year would also be in operation, using local ladies to help make the Tory lines. And a contact in the first Global Bird Weekend of 2020, we had an email from a lady in Vanuatu, and I said, this is incredible. Randomly, our website has reached out to this lady in Vanuatu, Boozy. And we ended up having dinner with Boozy 6 years later in her home country. And in fact, the other chap, Dominic, who has actually also now done some work with BirdLife International, also in Vanuatu and around the South Pacific region. His wife actually went out on Global Big Day and took some of the local village ladies who had never bird watched, ever. And there's a big problem down there with killing birds and invasive species. So for them to be able to go out and start looking at their surroundings in a very different way, again, that's such a heartwarming story to know. And I'm a believer in really opening up the whole world of nature to everybody. It's not a closed shop. Please don't feel that way. If you're slightly nervous about coming, hopefully you will come, and hopefully you'll find that it's a very welcoming group of people.
And if you look at the list of non-birdie type organisations there, we've got Bug Life, we've got the Butterfly Conservation, we've got Dragonfly, Mammal Society, we've got the Wildlife Trust, we've got the WWF have been there, Fauna and Flora. You know, there's a whole lot of really interesting groups. And of course, from the Cairngorms, they'll be talking about the amazing development they've been working on, the Capercaillie, which is now doing really well. And I think the thing we can also be very proud of is the fact that it's now almost a global thing. We started it all those years ago, but now almost not quite every country, but many countries are replicating it in their own way. You know, it might not be commercial, it might be, as Penny rightly says, you know, inspiring local people, getting people out, taking them out birding, introducing them to a pair of binoculars or whatever it might be, or Merlin or whatever. So, you know, I think, you know, Global BirdFair, it really is a massive global winner.
So we hope you can make it to Linden Top on the 10th, 11th and 12th of July for Global BirdFair 2026.